There's a strange silence that surrounds the life you secretly want. Not the life you talk about, not the life you post about, not the life you let other people imagine for you, but the life that lives under your ribs, the one you only feel in moments of honesty, when you're too tired to lie to yourself. It's the life that calls to you at the quietest hour, the one that glimmers on the edge of your vision, the one so real it almost feels inevitable, and yet so distant it seems impossible. Most people think the life they want is running away from them. They think it's too far, too late, too big, too unrealistic. They imagine it turning its back, slipping through their fingers, moving on without them. But that's not how it works. The life you want isn't avoiding you. It's not uninterested. It's not unimpressed. The life you want is afraid of you. Afraid of the parts of you haven't claimed yet. Afraid of the storms you still haven't faced. Afraid of the shadows you refuse to walk into. Afraid of the truth you pretend not to hear. Afraid of the depth you keep running from. Afraid of the power you deny, even as it trembles inside you, aching to be used. You think you are waiting for your life to change, but your life is waiting for you to become someone it can attach to. The life you want is not built on your fantasies. It is built on your transformation. And transformation never begins with light. It begins with confrontation. With the moment you look at yourself without flinching. With the moment you stop performing and start becoming. With the moment you stop running from the man inside you who is capable of more than survival. You've spent years walking around the edges of your destiny, afraid to step fully inside it. Afraid of the responsibilities it demands. Afraid of the intensity it requires. Afraid of the honesty it would force out of you. Afraid of the identity you'd have to let die. And what's ironic, what's almost tragic, is how deeply you believe that your life isn't ready for you, when the truth is the opposite. You're not ready for your life. Not yet. Not fully. But you feel the pressure building, the inner shifting, the quiet friction between who you are and who you know you could be. The life you want sees that potential in you. It feels your power. It knows what you're capable of. It knows the size of your soul. And that magnitude is what intimidates it. Because the life you want is not a small life. It is not a life lived in the shallow end. It is not a life sustained by pretending. It is the kind of life that requires a complete rearranging of who you are, your choices, your relationships, your beliefs, your wounds, your excuses, your identity. The life you want is afraid of you because you have not yet become the version of you who can hold it without breaking. It knows your strength, but it also sees the cracks you refuse to mend. It knows your direction, but it also sees the detours you keep choosing. It knows your potential, but it also sees the trauma you never healed. It knows your greatness, but it also sees your attachment to smallness. It knows your truth, but it also sees your comfort in the lie. And until you face those truths, until you allow the darkness inside you to speak, until you stop projecting your fear outward, until you stop blaming life for what is really your own avoidance. If this content making sense to you, subscribe to the channel, and thank you for your support. Your life cannot approach you, because destiny will not give itself to a man who is still hiding. Not hiding from the world is irrelevant. Hiding from himself. Jung said the shadow contains everything you need to become whole, not just your darkness, but also your brilliance, your real power, your unlived life. But most people never enter the shadow. They spend their entire lives orbiting themselves, distracting, performing, numbing, pleasing, repeating the same cycles because the truth of who they are feels too large to hold. The life you want is afraid of you, because you have not yet accepted the truth of your own magnitude. You dream in small fragments, but your soul dreams in earthquakes. You try to negotiate with your destiny. Let me keep my comfort. Let me keep my habits. Let me keep my wounds. Let me keep my excuses. But destiny doesn't negotiate. It transforms. And transformation doesn't ask for permission. Behind every dream is a demand. Behind every desire is a requirement. Behind every fantasy is a cost. Behind every calling is a sacrifice. Your life is not scared of your weakness. Weakness is familiar, predictable, manageable. Your life is scared of your power, because real power reshapes everything. It destabilizes the lies you've lived with. It exposes the parts of your identity built on fear. It forces you to confront every pattern, every avoidance, every compromise you made just to stay safe. Your life wants to be chosen, but it refuses to step forward until you are ready to stop abandoning yourself. Because the truth is simple and brutal. You cannot receive a life you are still running from. And you run from it every time you choose the distraction instead of the discipline, the mask instead of the vulnerability, the temporary comfort instead of the long-term truth, the old story instead of the new identity waiting beneath your skin. You run from it every time you tell the world you're fine when your soul is starving. Every time you play small because the world taught you to fear your own impact. Every time you numb your emotions instead of listening to what they're trying to reveal. Every time you repeat patterns that protect you from the possibility of becoming someone greater. Greatness is not glamorous. It is dismantling. It is raw. It is lonely. It is inconvenient. It is painful. It is uncomfortable. It requires walking into the darkest corners of your psyche and claiming the parts of yourself you left behind. The life you want needs you to be whole, not perfect. Whole. It needs you to be someone who can hold discomfort, someone who can hold truth, someone who can hold consequence, someone who can hold potential without sabotaging it, someone who can hold responsibility without collapsing under its weight. The life you want isn't waiting for chance. It's waiting for a container big enough to hold it. And that container is the real you. Not the you that the world shaped, not the you that trauma carved, not the you that fear maintains. The you that exists beneath the stories you tell. The life you want sees him. It's afraid of him. And it's drawn to him, because that version of you is the one who can hold the destiny you keep dreaming of, but are still too afraid to step into. This is where everything begins. Not with external change, but with the moment you stop asking for a new life and start becoming the person who can inhabit one. There's a moment, somewhere between who you are and who you're becoming, when the air around you starts to feel thicker, as if the world is holding its breath, waiting to see if you will finally step into yourself or retreat again into the familiar cage you've outgrown. This is the tension of transformation, not the transformation itself. The part before it, the psychological twilight, where your old life doesn't fit, but your new one doesn't feel real yet. It's a dangerous place, a sacred place, because here, more than anywhere else, you face the truth you've been avoiding. You aren't afraid of failure. You aren't afraid of pain. You aren't afraid of loss. You're afraid of becoming someone you can no longer hide from. The life you want feels distant, not because you are unworthy of it, but because you sense the magnitude of the change required to hold it. You know, even if you've never said it aloud, that stepping into the life meant for you would force every illusion to burn. You would have to stop pretending, stop shrinking, stop abandoning your emotions, stop repeating the same wounds in new relationships, stop negotiating with your own potential, stop using numbness as a way to avoid truth, stop choosing people who don't require you to grow, stop living like your past has the right to dictate your future. And all of that, every single one of those shifts, is terrifying. Not because you can't do them, but because doing them would make you undeniable. And most people are more comfortable being hidden than undeniable. Your destiny isn't intimidated by your darkness. It's intimidated by your light. Because light changes everything. Light reveals the truth. Light destroys the excuses you built your identity on. Light forces you to take responsibility for who you are and who you've pretended not to be. This is why the life you want is afraid of you, because you still haven't decided if you want to live honestly or comfortably. Honesty demands upheaval. Comfort demands self-abandonment. Most people choose the latter because comfort feels like safety, even when it's slowly killing them. But there's something different in you, something your life has already sensed, a pressure, a hunger, a growing dissonance between the person you present to the world and the one you meet in the mirror when the room is quiet and the mask finally slips. You can feel something rising in you, something old and something new at the same time. A force that has been waiting for years to erupt. The part of you that knows you are meant for more and is tired of being ignored. This is why you feel restless, why you feel out of place, why the world that once felt comfortable now feels too small, too scripted, too shallow to breathe in. Your life is not falling apart, it's falling open. Every discomfort, every emotional breakdown, every silent night where you feel yourself stretching beyond your own skin, they are not signs of collapse. They are contractions. You're not breaking, you're crowning. But birth is violent to the identity that came before it. The life you want sees this in you. It knows you are capable of depth, of intensity, of meaning, of growth that would intimidate the version of you who keeps pretending to be fine. It sees the storm you are becoming, and storms are not gentle. Storms rearrange everything. Storms demand space. Storms reveal structure. Storms cleanse what no longer belongs. Your life wants to be chosen, but it also understands the gravity of what that choice requires. You cannot step into the life you want while carrying the life you've outgrown. You cannot enter the future with the same beliefs that built your past. You cannot create new meaning while clinging to old wounds for identity. You cannot attract what is meant for you while you're still loyal to what hurt you. This is what scares your destiny, the contradiction inside you, the war between who you've been and who you could become. You say you want growth, yet cling to the habits that numb you. You say you want connection, yet run from intimacy the moment it becomes real. You say you want meaning, yet spend days distracting yourself from your own soul. You say you want the life meant for you, yet treat your potential like a threat. The life you want is afraid of you because you haven't chosen yourself yet, not completely, not with the full weight of your being, not with the kind of commitment that leaves no room for the old life to survive. You've dipped your hands into becoming, but haven't submerged. You've flirted with transformation, but haven't surrendered. You've touched your truth, but haven't held it. You're close, so close that the life you want can feel your breath, your pulse, your trembling readiness. But it is waiting for one thing: alignment, not perfection, not readiness, not certainty, alignment. The moment when your desires, your actions, your honesty, your integrity, and your self-respect finally point in the same direction. When there is no more psychological split, no more, almost, no more. When I feel ready, just truth. The truth that you are meant for more than the watered down version of yourself you offer the world. The truth that your potential frightens you because it would require you to stop living a life that keeps you small. The truth that the life you want is not a fantasy. It is a reflection of the person you are on the verge of becoming. Your life is afraid of you because it knows what you're capable of once you stop negotiating with your own brilliance. It has seen the way you endure pain. It has seen the way you rise silently. It has seen the way you love deeply even after being hurt. It has seen the way you carry storms in your chest and still move forward. It has seen the fire you hide behind your quietness, the truth you hide behind your humor, the power you hide behind your softness. It doesn't question your worthiness, you do. Your destiny isn't doubting you. You're doubting yourself. And the moment you step out of doubt, out of excuses, out of the identity shaped by fear, Everything that feels impossible will begin to move toward you. Because the life you want is not running away from you. It is circling you, waiting for the moment you become someone who will not sabotage it the moment it arrives. When that happens, the world won't need to change. You will, and your life will no longer fear you. It will recognize you. There comes a moment, quiet, unannounced, when the fear shifts. Not the fear of failing, not the fear of judgment, not the fear of losing. Those fears have been with you for years. You know their shape, their scent, their favorite hiding places. No, the shift happens when you suddenly realize you are no longer afraid of the world. You are afraid of yourself. Afraid of the version of you who doesn't flinch. Afraid of the version of you who tells the truth. Afraid of the version of you who stops settling. Afraid of the version of you who refuses old patterns. Afraid of the version of you who stands unapologetically in their own gravity. Afraid of the version of you who can no longer be controlled by your wounds. Because that version of you, the one your destiny recognizes, is powerful enough to burn your old life down. And part of you is still loyal to that old life, even if it suffocates you. That's the quiet tragedy of the human soul. We cling to the familiar, even when it hurts more than the unknown. This is why the life you want trembles around the edges of your consciousness, why it hovers like a shadow you can't catch. It senses your ambivalence. It senses your split. It sees how you half step into your potential and then retreat the moment the ground shifts beneath your feet. It sees how you speak of change while keeping one hand on the past. It sees how you dream of more while bargaining for less. It sees how you touch your truth only to run from the responsibility it demands. Your life is not afraid of your weakness. Weakness is predictable. Weakness is manageable. Weakness is a cage with soft walls. Your life is afraid of your strength because strength would force everything in you to stop pretending. And you can feel that. That's why you hesitate. That's why you sabotage. That's why you delay. That's why you stay in relationships that drain you, in patterns that numb you, in habits that shrink you. If you allowed your power to rise, fully, honestly, your current life would disintegrate. Your excuses wouldn't survive it. Your old identity wouldn't survive it. Your wounds wouldn't survive it. Your comfort wouldn't survive it. Your denial wouldn't survive it. The life you want is not for the version of you that copes. It is for the version of you that chooses. Chooses truth over comfort. Chooses courage over numbness. Chooses boundaries over attachment. Chooses growth over repetition. Chooses depth over distraction. Chooses destiny over fear. You don't have to be fearless. You only have to stop negotiating with fear. Because fear will always ask you to stay small. Fear will always beg you to remain unchanged. Fear will always whisper that you're not ready. But readiness is not a feeling. It's a decision. There is no divine moment when clarity arrives like sunlight breaking through the clouds. There is no perfect alignment of emotion and certainty. There is no internal applause that tells you, yes, now you are ready. There is only this truth. The life you want becomes possible the moment you stop refusing the parts of yourself that can create it. Your life is afraid of you because it sees the version you that you keep rejecting. If this content making sense to you, subscribe to the channel and thank you for your support. The version who knows their worth. The version who honors their sadness instead of hiding it. The version who holds their boundaries without guilt. The version who walks away from what feels wrong. The version who speaks honestly even when their voice shakes. The version who listens to their intuition. The version who is willing to be alone rather than abandon themselves. The version who does not need permission to exist fully. The version who remembers who they were before fear dressed them in someone else's life. This version, the real you, is the one your destiny is waiting for. And the moment you allow even a fraction of that self to breathe, you feel it a stirring beneath the surface, a shift in the air around you, a sense that something in your life has recognized you, not because your circumstances changed, but because you changed, inwardly, quietly, profoundly. Your truth is magnetic. Your honesty is catalytic. Your self-respect is a signal the universe responds to. When you stop betraying yourself, the world stops betraying you. When you stop settling, life stops offering you smallness. When you stop pretending, the right things begin to find you. But to reach that moment, you must cross the threshold the ego fears most, the death of who you were. This is why the life you want is afraid of you. It is watching to see if you are willing to let the old version of yourself dissolve so something new can take its place. Transformation is not gentle. It is a dismantling, a shedding, a burning of old illusions, a confrontation with everything you built your identity upon. But it is also a birth, a rising, a remembering, a return to the soul you left behind. And when that return happens, when you finally choose yourself, your life is no longer afraid of you. It recognizes you. It steps toward you. Opportunities appear that never existed before. People enter your orbit who feel like mirrors, not distractions. You begin to make decisions without apologizing for your truth. You stop living in reaction and start living in intention. You become someone who can hold a life that once terrified you, not because it changed, but because you did. The life you want is not waiting for luck, or timing, or external permission. It is waiting for integrity. The integrity of being who you really are, without distortion, without hiding, without minimizing. The moment you stand in that integrity, fully unapologetically, without flinching from your own potential, the life you want stops being afraid of you. It moves toward you, as if relieved, as if it's been circling the perimeter of your existence for years, waiting for the moment you stop running. It comes not as a miracle, but as alignment. Not as a gift, but as recognition. Because destiny is not something you chase. Destiny is something you meet when you become someone who can hold it. And the truth, the hard, beautiful truth, is this: you were never unworthy of the life you want. You were simply becoming someone who could finally live it.